Hey y'all, it's Amber. Welcome to my channel. Whether you're a first time visitor, returning viewer, subscriber, welcome. I am happy to have you, and thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank y'all for joining my Happily Amber After family. If you came here for the teacher content, then this is definitely the video for you. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That lets me know that you like these kinds of videos, and I will definitely keep pushing them out for you. Or even if you don't like it, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. That gives me constructive criticism as well. I also welcome comments, suggestions, questions down in the comments box below. And if you have not joined my Happily Amber After family, or you are just coming to my channel for the first time, my name is Amber. You can maybe hear it in my accent, but I am from Houston, Texas. H-time. Anyway, and I am also an 8th grade ELA teacher. So this is kind of like a 2-in-1 type video. I have part 2 to my Target haul. So my other Target haul video has been doing really well. It has brought me a lot of subscribers, and so I'm so thrilled about it. I went back to Target today with my mom. I really didn't want to go, but she convinced me to go. She didn't really beg me or really convince me. I was convinced when she just asked. So I went with her, and I'm so glad that I did, because I was able to find some much needed supplies that I am going to need for my classroom. If you haven't already joined my Happily Amber After family, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you click the notification bell so that you can be aware of every single time that I make a post. And if you missed out for whatever reason on my Target haul video, I'll make sure to leave a little iCard up here for you, and I will also link that video down in the description box below. Now, I am going to start with my teacher must-haves, and I am finding that this is going to have to be a 2-part video. This part are my absolute must-haves. The next part is just simply going to be recommendations or things that I enjoy that is not necessarily required for me. And of course, I just want us to be clear, you know, teaching is one of the professions where a lot of teachers spend a lot of money out of their pockets. I spend at least $1,000 to $1,500 out of my pocket for my classroom every single year. Some of you may hear that number and just be like, oh my gosh. It's not just on decor. I invest in teachers, pay teachers resources. I invest on incentives for my students. To me, my professional development is also another financial investment that I make. Previous years, I have been reimbursed for some of those items. Last year, I was not, which is fine. I invest in me. I invest in my future. I'm willing to invest in my students' future. So you are by no means required to go out to Target and get every little thing. You are not required to build the picture perfect classroom. You are not required to have any of my must-haves unless your district or something requires you to do so. But by no means am I saying that you have to have these things in order to be an effective teacher. These are just things that I feel that I must have in order to be an effective teacher. And some of these things may be common that you may see as trends amongst several videos. I like to watch these videos, even though they're mostly geared towards first year teachers. And I am entering into my 4th year of teaching, 4.5. But for the sake of things, I'm just gonna say my 4th year. I will make 4 years completely in December. Anywho, so these videos are typically geared towards first year teachers, but I think that I still watch them, and a lot of other teachers, veteran teachers, can still watch these videos as well, because it gives me ideas of things that I never thought about. Let's get into it. The first thing that I must have, especially as a reading, English language arts and reading teacher, are books. Books are a must-have. How can I get my students invested in reading if I am not willing to provide them with options of books to read? I invest so much money into my personal library. I take some of the books to school. Some of the books are in my at-home library. If you looked at previous haul videos or vlogs of mine, then you see I have several bookshelves filled with books. And that is not even all of the books. The books that you saw in my videos doesn't even scratch the surface of all of the books that I have. I have over 400 digital books. And I also have maybe an additional 200 books that I had in my garage. I recently decluttered some of my books, and I should have recorded that, but it's okay. I didn't. books are a must-have for a reading teacher. Now, you may be saying, Amber, I'm a first-year teacher. I don't have a lot of extra money to buy a lot of books. Books are expensive, and yes, they are, especially if you are a picky teacher like me. I do not like to buy used books unless they are for me personally. When I put books on my bookshelf, I prefer that they are either like new or brand new books for my students. Why? Because that little thing makes them feel special. Ooh, I get to be the first person. I get to be the second person to read this book. They get excited about brand new books. I get excited about brand new books. And I build such excitement around when we get new books in the classroom. So back to the question, where can you go to get where can you go to get books if you don't necessarily have the money to fund your own entire personal library? You can go to, I don't know if Half Price Books is like a country nationwide thing, but we have Half Price Books here in Texas. They give away boxes of books for free to teachers. Another thing, utilize your school's library. It costs you nothing. So I still, even though I invest a lot into my classroom library, and this year I'm only doing one bookshelf. In previous years, I have had more than one bookshelf. I'm only doing one this year because I really want to put emphasis on taking my students to the school library. Even though I had a classroom full of books, I still took my students to the school library. Why? Because I want them to get in the habit of going to the library even when they move up to high school and they don't have a teacher who invests as much money into a classroom library as I do. You can also utilize donor shoes. I will leave information about donor shoes down in the description box below. Ask family, friends if they have any books. And I know for a lot of elementary teachers I've seen on my Facebook, they ask family and friends to sponsor their students, which is like $1 a month or something like that. So you can even consider asking people to sponsor your students so that you're able to provide them with books of their own, and then utilize your county, your city, the public library. They have e-cards. Your students can put in their phone number and their address and get an e-card and check out ebooks and audiobooks and magazines. Utilize that. So this is not me saying that you have to go out and buy brand new books, although I encourage it, I recommend it. But for me, in order for me to be an effective reading teacher, I have to have books. Next thing that I must have, and again, I don't recommend you break the bank for this. I recommend that you either go to Michaels, who accepts teacher IDs and provide discounts, but I also recommend that you wait until it's on sale and then use your teacher discount on top of that. I recommend a rainbow cart. So this is my rainbow cart. You kind of get a little insight into my setup as well. I utilize my rainbow carts every single year, with the exception of this previous year because I was a hybrid teacher and I didn't really need supplies because everything was online. This year we're going to a more blended learning approach. So I'm still going to be making copies and have things and have need for supplies. I have previously gone with my Disney theme. Now the only problem that I have with this rainbow cart is that it does not fit into the theme that I have for my classroom this year. That is okay. I am going to leave this as is because this is still my touch of Disney. However, I am also going to buy a separate one, I think. I'll explain that process. If I do decide to get one, I'll let you know what I intend to use it for. But this is just going to be for me and me only. My personal supplies. It is my rainbow cart. It is going to stay behind my desk, which means that you do not get to touch it. These supplies are just for me. Now, what I've done in years past is I typically collect pencils throughout the course of the year. Pencils get expensive, at least the type of pencils that I like get expensive. So I tend to collect pencils throughout the year when my students are out of a pencil or they're out of lead. I collect all of these things and I keep it for them. And they're able to buy a pencil with their props, or I'm going back to my classroom currency, Disney dollars. So I'm going to open that store back up and they were able to buy different things. I had specialized pencils. I had Marvel superhero pencils. I have Disney princess pencils. Now I just have the basic pencils. pens and stuff like that, but I would allow my students to buy those. They love Flair pens. I went to Disney and bought a whole bunch of pens, and my students were able to buy those as well. So like I said, if I do decide to get a second one, it is not going to be for supplies, and I will explain what that is going to be for. But for me, my rainbow cart is a teacher must. The next must have for me are storage bins. I love organization. I'm going to try to see if I can find old videos where I'm like literally organizing my closet. I have bought so many storage bins and wasted so much money on storage bins throughout the course of my teaching career that is ridiculous. So what I told my mom I was going to do, going forward, all clear bins. Doesn't matter how many times I change my theme, clear bins will always be in style and will always fit my theme. I like things to be organized. So you will notice in my last Target haul, check that out, that I have a lot of storage bins. Haven't really decided what all of these storage bins are going to be used for, but they will definitely get used because I like to have things organized. I bought a lot of flashcard holders. I bought a lot of different things, and I like for them to be stacked up neatly. Now, for those storage bins, what I'm thinking is they are probably, because they don't fit my color scheme, I'm going to put them inside my cabinet that I'm able to lock, and I'm going to be having snacks and things that my students are able to buy, either with their props for the entire grade level, or for my class specifically, they're going to be able to buy it with Disney dollars. I'll have a shop with me before school starts. I want the snacks to be nice and fresh. We're going to go to Sam's Club. We're going to shop till we drop and buy all of the snacks, all of the things to invest my students in their education. I know a lot of teachers have a lot of feelings about incentivizing learning. Feel free to share your thoughts down below. It makes no difference in my teaching. I found that when I invest my students by giving them a snack or whatever they like, they tend to perform better. They tend to take more risks in the classroom, and that's all I care about. We're silent until I pull a piece of candy out, and then we're willing to talk and maybe be wrong. And I invest my students at the beginning so that they are able to freely have these conversations, to be willing to be wrong. And that's what I care about. So moving right along, next, I must have a laminator. I have taken both of my mom's laminators. She doesn't really use them. When she has to laminate things, she typically brings it to me, or she just comes and gets her laminator, laminates her stuff and gives it back, or whatever the case may be. She has one that she ended up getting for like $20, but that laminator is actually worth $130. I'm not willing to pay $130 for a laminator. So I have her laminator in the meantime because I am the one that uses it the most. Like I said, I am going to be spending this week preparing on getting my things decorated for my classroom. I put in a haul for Schoolgirl Style. I cannot wait for those things to come in. They send me an email that it should be processed within the next couple of days and should be shipped out. And I'm so excited for it because I cannot wait to see the things and touch the things and feel the things. And I get to start decorating my classroom next week, and then we return back to school for in-service and professional development afterwards. And so I'm just so excited to decorate my classroom and so excited to keep decorating the library. But a laminator is a must-have. When I print things, I like to laminate them so that they can survive the years to come. Sometimes I still throw things away if I don't feel like I'm ever going to use this again. You know, thank you, it served me well, it's time to go. But for the most part, when I laminate something, that's me intending to keep it moving forward. Side note, if you do have a lot of things for your classroom and you're like me and you like to switch up your things often, I recommend those little, it's not necessarily my teacher must have, but it's a recommendation. I recommend you get those little mesh envelope things. It has a little zipper at the top. Like I said, I'll pop a picture up and I'll make sure to link it down in the description box below. I am no Amazon affiliate, no Target affiliate, no nothing affiliate. So if I'm putting it, it's just for the sake of your ease. I recommend you use those. I started using those for some of my bulletin board decor, and I'm just gonna simply print a picture out of the bulletin board, tape it on, that way I know what is inside that mesh bag. So I must have a laminator. Next, I must have rolling carts. I have 3 different carts that I have used over the course of my career. I'm going to pop a picture of one. It is this little square cart. I think it's like 50 or 60, maybe $70. A lot of times our backpacks get weighed down and get heavy. We bring a lot of things to school and you don't want to have to carry all of these things in your hand. I, this year, am going to be investing in a wagon. I am going to utilize my wagon. I think it's something that can be broken down small, but is able to hold more weight than that little cart. I am going to utilize this 3-tier cart, and I got that cart from Michaels. Again, I don't recommend you get it unless it is on sale, and make sure you use your teacher ID discount on top of that. So that cart I am going to use as my small group cart. And then the third cart that I have is a cart that has really saved, and I say this really dramatically, but it's so true, that has really just saved me this year. I can't think of the appropriate name, but I'll make sure to link it up here. But it is a 3-tier cart. This is the cart that I used through this year because teachers had to move from classroom to classroom. I carry a lot of stuff. I am probably not going to bring that cart to school this year, just simply because I am going to be staying in one single room. It has been saving me moving into this house. I'm able to stack things up on this cart, roll it into my apartment from the garage in the car. I must have a cart. Again, in order to be an effective teacher, I have to have a cart. Next is classroom decor. Now, let me preface with saying this. I said earlier, you do not have to have all of these things in order to be an effective teacher. One of the things that I really take pride in my classroom environment, that is something that my district really pushes for. A classroom environment that is friendly, inclusive, welcoming. And I take pride in my environment because kids are stimulated by my classroom. We have anchor charts. We have beautiful decor up. I surround them with affirmations. That is important to me. So while it is easy to say that you don't have to have a Pinterest-worthy classroom, and I agree wholeheartedly, you should still have some things up that let your students know who you are, what your personality is like. A friendly, welcoming environment. Even think about classroom transformations. By making simple tweaks to decorations in your classroom, you're able to get that engagement from your students. So for me, in order to be an effective teacher, I have to have in a classroom environment that matches with me. And I need somewhere, I spend more time at school than I do at home, with the exception of summer breaks and weekends. During the week, I'm more time at school than at home. And I need to be in an environment where I feel comfortable, where I feel like I am surrounded by things that make me happy. And classroom decor makes me happy. So a happy teacher equates to happy students. So I must have classroom decor. I am going all out for my students this year. It is going to be a very calm theme. In previous years, I have had very colorful classroom, and there's still going to be pops of color everywhere because I am still going to be bringing my Disney stuffed animals. I really put a lot of emphasis on affirmations and words of encouragement. I am also going to be doing an affirmation station in my classroom this year. I have seen it on the YouTube for the past 2 or 3 years now, and I've always wanted to do it. Previously, I had a class pledge. This year, I am going to make my students affirm themselves every single day. Pick one. I am special. I am kind. I am brilliant. I am intelligent. I am creative. I am doing the impossible. I am capable of difficult things. I am able to overcome my challenges. I am, a thrill seeker, or whatever the case may be. I want them to affirm themselves every single day in my classroom this year. I also need a personal printer and paper. Now, my very first semester of teaching, I had a personal printer in my classroom because, let's just face it, when teachers have downtime, they're going to be making their copies. And I got sick of waiting forever because people would print 1,000 copies for their students, and it holds up the printer and you're just sitting there waiting like, I just need one paper, and sometimes people would pause it, but we don't recommend doing that because sometimes it messes up the printer and all of these things. And so I pre-print things at home so I'm not having to wait for copies to be made. Now, personally, I try to be considerate. If people are just printing like a master copy, I will wait, let their master copy print, and then put my copies through. If they're sending a big print job of like 150 10-page packets, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put mine through. But I try to be considerate and have that teacher etiquette. So my personal printer is a must-have for me. I am considering buying a second printer and keeping one in my classroom. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not. We shall see, but it is a must-have for me. Next, totally unnecessary, but totally necessary for me. I must have my iPad and my MacBook. A lot of teachers plan on our school issued laptops, and I have my school issued laptop right here behind me. Here it is. It is a Dell laptop. While I love Windows, I grew up with Windows, I just like using my MacBook more. As for my iPad, I like to use that when I am reading with my students. I don't always have the physical capability of carrying all of these heavy books because I bring both my MacBook and my school computer to school every single day with my iPad. And I like to read from my iPad sometimes. I also like to take notes from my iPad. It's just a convenient notebook. Again, not at all a necessity. I know some school districts, from teachers that I've seen, their school districts provide them with MacBooks for lesson planning. I think that is phenomenal. My district is not. They are providing us with Dells, which I still think, I love my Dell computer. Don't get me wrong. My school laptop, now that it's brand new at least, that works perfectly for me. But I still am more engaged with my MacBook and my iPad than I am my work computer. And maybe because everybody else has my work computer, I don't know. So while it is not at all a requirement to be an effective teacher for others, for me, it is a requirement for me to be an effective teacher. Now, do I think that I could still be effective without a MacBook? Yes, but I have one and I invested in it intentionally, and I'm going to continue to use it because it makes me an effective teacher, because I lesson plan and I enjoy it and I paid for it. So there's that. I must have a teacher planner. Even though I still put things on my school calendar, I still have to have a physical planner. Even though I may write down my to-do list in a notebook like this, I still must have a teacher planner. This year, I am going to be using a Happy Planner. I have previously used Erin Condren. I have previously used For the Love of Pi. I've also previously used a Passion Planner. I must have a teacher planner because I like to schedule my meetings, my to-dos, appointments, all of those things. I don't necessarily schedule my personal appointments in my school calendar. Sometimes I do, and if I do, then I make it personal so that other people just see she's busy during this time, but they don't need to know what I'm busy, doing. So I just must have a teacher planner because I like to plan out my days. I like to write down my appointments. I like to physically write what objectives we're focusing on, what assignments we're going to do, what meetings I have coming up, what things are required of me from school, what deadlines I have. All of those things are going to live in my teacher planner. So I must have one in order to be an effective teacher. Why? Because it keeps me organized and it keeps me on top of my game and it keeps me structured. Last but not least, which is so important, if you get nothing else that I've recommended on this list, which again, are not required. They are, for me, must-haves because they keep me organized. They keep me excited to teach, invested in teaching. But this, to me, is the most important, which is why I left it for number 10. You notice my tone change because it's like, this is a real serious moment here. My number one must-have, even though I'm putting it at number 10, it is my number one. You must have boundaries as a teacher. Let me say this for the folks in the back. You must have boundaries as a teacher. I cannot tell you how many times I have stayed up late trying to lesson plan, trying to revamp my lessons, trying to keep up with all of the administrative tasks that people are asking me for on top of teaching, replying to student messages, replying to parent messages, returning text messages, all while trying to maintain a personal social life. You must have boundaries and know when enough is enough. I am no longer working past 5 o'clock. I recognize that it is really challenging a lot of times for me to cut work off completely. I am also a grade level chair, so oftentimes my teammates may not text me within the school day because they have a random question. But this year especially, I made it a point to stop working when I left school and to not read any emails or messages until I got to school because I needed to preserve my mental health and energy. So in order for me to be the best effective teacher possible, I have to have boundaries. Maybe you're a first year teacher, you're brand new, you're going to have to find the balance between work, in life. Maybe you have children and you need to find a way to effectively lesson plan, grade in a way that doesn't take away from your students. If the work does not get done while I am on campus at school, especially considering we're no longer virtual, if their work does not get done, it's just going to have to be rolled over to the next day, which is why my teacher planner comes in handy. It is so important to not become that teacher that works. And then by the time you get to spring break, you're completely burnt out. And that's, after spring break, is arguably the most important time of the year, because at least in Texas, that's when they're state testing afterwards. So it's going to be super important to find boundaries, whatever your boundaries mean to you. For me, that means I'm not responding to any emails. I'm not responding to any team questions. I'm not, unless I feel like it is super important or they're telling me that they're going to be taking EPTO and just wanted to give me a heads up so I can pop in on that classroom. I am not responding to messages anymore outside of my designated school hours. I have the last period of the day off. I am going to utilize my planning period for just that, planning. I also plan on spending this week lesson planning for my entire Unit 1. I'm going to batch lesson plan, and I'm going to make sure all of their student work is done. I'm going to make sure that all of my student accommodations are done. I'm going to make sure that all of my student accommodations are done. I'm going to make sure that every single thing that my students need to be successful for the first 6 weeks to school is going to be done. I have the Empowered ELA Teacher to thank. I don't know where I guess that's in my living room on the bookshelf. But I really recommend, if you're an English teacher, to pick up that book. It is phenomenal. That is going to help me build boundaries and stick to them when I spend my period planning time getting that grading done, because that's what that time is going to be used for. Because remember, I'm going to be batch lesson planning, making any last minute adjustments that I have, and I'm also going to be planning on my small group. So it's possible that I'm going to be using some of my planning period time, revamping my small group, figuring out what specific skills I want to focus on. Maybe if they mastered a skill before I thought we would get there, then we'll move on to the next skill, or whatever the case may be. But instead of me leaving early every day like I would love to do, I'm going to just spend that time on campus focusing on things that I need to be set up for success, so that when I leave campus, I am done completely. I get to come home, take my bath, take my shower, just get in my bed, rest, relax, and enjoy myself. Do me, okay? No work on the weekends, none of that. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging on with me. You have been patient. I know you're probably waiting on the Target haul. If you skip through, hey, I'm not mad at you. Here's the Target haul. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I got, I was so excited to see, because the Target MP, oh, I dropped it and I messed it up. This Target over here, kind of where I'm living now, had it. And this is the little polka dot print boho Lazy Susan, and I am going to be using this in my classroom. Now I'm thinking that I'm going to be using this for like a teacher supply thing. I have a mesh caddy, a pink mesh caddy, that I think I'm going to put in the center and just let it twirl, I guess, because unless I can think of something else to use this for, I just really wanted it. Now I also recommend that you don't just buy stuff just to buy stuff. I mean, it makes me happy, so I bought it, but if spending money on things that you can't necessarily think of, it does not make you happy, then I do not recommend you do it. Now, I also recommend that you have a plan for things that you buy for your classroom, especially. Next, I also have some of this little polka dot, boho polka dot wallpaper. I am going to use this for my cabinets, my front of my locked cabinets. I'm going to use this for, and I'm also going to use this for the bookshelf, my white bookshelf that I'm going to be bringing to the school. I'm going to use this contact paper on the inside, which is going to let them know, hey, this is mine, don't touch. And then if I still have some extra, then I'm going to use this on my 2 bookshelves in my room. So I'm so excited about these. And they were $5 each for the Lazy Susan. That was also $5. Next, I also bought a little treasure box. This is just going to be for some quick in the moment quick rewards. I know a lot of elementary teachers that I have watched on YouTube lately use these little treasure boxes for mini erasers and things like that. Yeah, no, not me. So I am going to use this and keep like little Starbursts, little Jolly Ranchers, small little pieces of candy. But anyway, I'm going to be using this little treasure chest for $1 for some quick little rewards and incentives for my students, especially during the first couple of days of school, because I want to build the routines and habits of them raising their hands, actively participating in the conversation. I also got some little pencils. They have different little quotes and sayings, and there are 10 pencils. I bought 2 packs for me and 1 pack for my mother. We have, you can change the world, your voice matters, you are important, you always belong here, Always spread kindness. You are a future leader. You can do amazing things. Choose to be confident. Never give up on yourself. Mistakes prove you are trying. And I am going to be putting this in the little caddy that I'm going to have on top of my Lazy Susan and turntable. And again, these are going to be used as motivation for my students. Maybe it'll be a reward, maybe it'll be an incentive, maybe if they just run out of a pencil and need something, they can have this one. I don't know, but these are kind of special to me, and because they have little important messages, I might use these as like little rewards. We shall see. I also bought non-screw related a soap pump, and this is going to be for my dishwashing liquid in my kitchen, just simply because I don't like putting that. It's just ugly sitting on my counter. So this is just going to be better looking. They had this in like a teal green. I didn't really want the teal green, so I just got this bottle, and this was $3. And then last but not least, I got a set of wall decals, and this gives you a picture of all of the things, and I can't really see, so hopefully y'all can. I think I'm going to use this on our bulletin board. We have Be the Change That You Wish to See in the World, which is also what we see. We have a Be Kind poster. We have Be Brave, Todo es posible, Try Your Best, Be Kind, Have Courage, Si se puede, Yes you can, One World, Many Colors, Be Kind to One Another. So I am going to use this for our bulletin board, and I have the matching bulletin border, so this is like perfect. I was so glad that I saw it. I think I am going to probably laminate these things. That way I can preserve these for years to come. So happy to have these. And that is all I got for my Target haul. So thank you again for joining me. Thank you for holding it down. This was a very lengthy video, and good luck to me editing. I hope that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have more teacher content coming out, especially coming soon. Is going to be how I am prepping for returning back to school next week to set up my classroom, and how I am prepping for back to school time. If you're a brand new teacher, welcome to the wild world of education. Congratulations. And with that being said, let's make it a great school year. See y'all next time.